a hand on your heart. Thank you for doing that. All right, we're rolling on this thing. Do we have any public comments? Has anyone submitted anything? No? Yes? No?
At this time, we'd ask for any public comments that are for items that are not on the agenda. We do have one speaker registered. If anybody else would like to register, the slips are over on the left-hand side. And with that, I don't believe we have any public comments for anything other than the agenda item.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much. All right, so now we're on to presentations. And that would be, we're getting our first Senior Advisory Board presentation with Marty Deutschman. Would you come up and join?
First thing is, I want to compliment you all for choosing a board which seems to be melding very well. It seems the personalities seem to be very good in the chemistry of it. I just want to give you some ideas what we've been doing. First of all, the Senior Advisory Board members are researching senior centers, their websites regarding mission statements, programs, activities, and transportation. And I think transportation, I guess, is an important factor here. The board voted to create a mission statement for the Senior Advisory Board. The board currently is contacting senior centers regarding their volunteer recognition programs and will report their recommendations at the August 16th meeting. We're also in the future, we're looking into layouts of the various centers so that we could come up with ideas and recommendations for that as well. Did I use my time properly? Okay. I wanted to talk more, but I figured you cut me off, so I didn't. Yeah. Okay. No, I think that's it. I was told to keep it short and sweet, and so that's what I did.
Thank you, Marty. I do have a question or maybe a comment.
Sure.
At one of our Parks and Rec conferences, through that we were able to go to an open house in the for a senior center. Actually, it was a combination senior center, community center out in Moreno Valley.
Oh.
So I know that's a little far away, but they really had some good insight as to what worked and what didn't work for them.
Oh, okay.
So at least look at their website.
Okay, Moreno Valley.
I think it was Moreno Valley.
I'll write it down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Brenda would be glad to go out there, I'm sure. Okay.
Well,
okay, sure.
Yeah,
No
it was just very interesting because they said as they were going along with, like an example, as they were going along with the plans, and they had done a beautiful wooden floor for, events, and all of a sudden they realized they didn't have an office for the person that was going to be in charge of all the events. So they converted a janitor closet. Little things like that
Yeah.
you do forget.
Yeah.
But it was just something to think about. They really had some really good things.
I will definitely bring that up, and I will personally check it out.
Oh, thank you. And of course, we all have wonderful senior centers all over,
Yes.
So I know you'll be very successful.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you,
All
Loretta.
right, sure. Okay, now, Public Works, right? And that's Angel.
Good evening, Chairman Aaron, and members of the Parks and Rec Commission. The Public Works quarterly update for January through March is part of your packet, and I would like to highlight a few of the projects that the Commission might be of interest. The construction projects at the sports park sites are going smoothly. The mass grading and drainage contract is approximately 95% complete, and they're scheduled to complete at the end of this month. In March, the City Council awarded a $35.9 million contract to Park West landscaping for the park improvements. The construction of the park improvements will immediately follow the grading and drainage project, and the anticipated completion of the park improvements will be in late 2014. The park improvements at Rimgate and Tamarisk Parks is currently out to bid for a third time, and the bids are due on May 30th. The construction will start in July, and it will take approximately 6 months to complete. And that concludes my update, and be happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you. Why don't I start? Well, we'll start over here with Jim, and we'll work our way over. How's that?
A quick question on Tamarisk and Rimgate. Third time hopefully being the charm, as they say. If it comes in May, and I realize it said June, you said July, isn't that still kind of aggressive to have it all reviewed, or and then do we have it awarded and start construction in July, or is that end of July maybe?
It's aggressive. It usually takes 2 to 3 weeks to open the bids and then get it to the City Council for award. And then it'll probably be about mid-July, late, before they start construction.
Is there any kind of gut feel, let's say, on the part of you and your department that the third time will be the charm, or?
I think my gut feels like it's been slugged 3 times already.
Thank you, Angel. Appreciate that. Thanks.
I have no comment. Thank you.
You don't have to.
It's a lot of pressure, really. No, I don't have any comment. So when you say 95% complete on the sports park, does that mean that, right, the grade, yeah, the grading and the drainage, so that will be complete by the end of the month, so we're on target then? Okay, yes. Great.
Nothing for me. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You are free to go. If you like. All right. Okay. So next, we've got our public works done. Consent calendar minutes from the last meeting. Does anyone have any changes or corrections? Oh, Jim, go right ahead.
Just one on the, I guess it's on the last page, on the notation, again, unless I wrote it down wrong, with a 4-H club chili cook-off fundraiser, October 5th. I think I said 5th, but somehow it became the 12th.
Well, that's important.
Yes, it is. For those people who like chili and would like to prepare chili, that's a cool event. Thanks. That's it on my part.
All right. Are there any other comments or corrections? No? I'd like to entertain a motion from someone to...
So moved.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Great. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Now we are on to our dog park feasibility part 3.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Karen. What we'd like to do is go over a presentation, then we'll have public comments, then we'll bring it back to the Commission for discussion. I want to thank you for your patience. We would have liked to had this matrix out to you earlier, but we've been refining it and working on it quite a bit for the last couple of weeks. We wanted to make sure we had everything as accurate as we possibly could. So the good news is, though, we're not going to be asking you to make any decisions based on what's in the overview matrix. You'll have a month to take a look at it, and then we'll bring it back again next month. But we'd like to go over some of the criteria and what we did to arrive at our methodology. So on to the next slide there. This is basically better than usual, I will have to say. It worked on the first try. Okay, so tonight we're going to review what we did is went out and looked at all of our parkland, all of our developed parkland and undeveloped parkland, and then used the criteria that was given to us by the commissioners and other sources that we had at our disposal. So tonight you're going to review the criteria based on the parks that we have, and it'll help you to make some decisions as to the direction we might go. Onto the dog park criteria. In the development of the criteria, the Commission unanimously agreed that any potential dog park had to be located on city property. So that was one of the things that you had told us. Then we looked at the total acreage at each park. Then we looked at whether or not there was space at each of those parks for a 3 to 5 acre dog park that would not that wouldn't impact existing amenities. Then we put a 250-foot radius at our parks to see if there were any homes, playgrounds, sports fields, or sensitive habitat areas that would be impacted by a 250-foot radius. Finally, we graded each site regarding parking, road access, which are important features that you also mentioned to us that you wanted us to look at when we were looking at a dog park. Using that criteria, we looked at El Toro and Heroes Park and eliminated those from consideration. Those are county parks that we operate through a lease. So anything that we wanted to do on those parks, we have to have approved by the county. And it's unlikely that they would, in my opinion, that they would approve a dog park. So that eliminated those 2 sites. Then we moved on to space for a 3 to 5 acre park. And many of the parks in the city aren't even 3 acres. So there's a list here, and on your matrix, they'll let you see that most of the parks are unable to hold a 3 to 5 acre dog park. Next, we move on to whether or not there are homes within 250 feet. And what you need to realize is that many of our parks are neighborhood parks. They're located inside neighborhoods with homes close by. So for a dog park, they would all be within 250 feet of homes, all the parks that are listed here. Moving on to the next criteria, it's conflicting features. One of them would be playgrounds. Not necessarily that you couldn't have one, but that if we did put a dog park, it would be, we wouldn't be able to put it in without putting it within 250 feet of a playground. So there's many of the parks you can see there too. Another conflicting feature was sports fields. But sports fields we don't necessarily feel would automatically eliminate a park from consideration, but we took a look anyway just to see, because we use many of our parks for sports activities. The next conflicting feature was sensitive habitat, and I think we'd all agree we don't want to locate a dog park near to a sensitive habitat area. We have habitat areas near Concourse, Foothill, Lake Forest Park, of course the Nature Park, Serrano Creek Park, and Village Pond Park. Now we moved on and took a look at parking. We rated the sites either good, fair, or poor. These sites we all determined they had poor parking situations. Borrego Park Overlook, Pebble Creek, Ranchwood, Sundowner, these are all small neighborhood parks. Road access is something else to consider, whether or not there was any major roads or neighborhood streets to get to them. That caused us also to eliminate Borrego, Pebble, Ranchwood, and Sundowner. The next thing we looked at, there's a couple of facilities that we didn't feel was appropriate to locate, or they're completely programmed. One of them is the skate park. The skate park, we're impacted as far as room. It's all skate park, a little bit of grass, and a parking lot. Then the sports park is under construction currently, and the program for the sports park didn't include a dog park. It'd be difficult to go at this stage and change the construction drawings to include a park. We'd have to eliminate some other amenity that we promised the community that we were going to build. Then we looked at a few of our parks that I consider to be impacted parks, Foothill Ranch and Mountain View. There's a lot of amenities on those parks, and even though there's parking, they're heavily used, and we just feel like there's enough activity there now that we wouldn't want to add anything else to them at this time. That would be Foothill Ranch and Mountain View. So then the next thing for us to look at for a potential dog park site were our undeveloped park sites. The two of them that we have still in our inventory. One of them is the Whispering Hills site. And the Whispering Hills site is 6.4 acres, but a lot of that is slope. I hope a lot of you know where this one is looking at it. It's off Lake Forest. We drive by it all the time, next to the Starbucks there. Whispering Hills. Whispering Hills site, right next to, off of Lake Forest, right next to the Starbucks. The only thing to consider, though, I don't know if any of you were at the council meeting on Tuesday night, but there are also competing interests for this for sports activities as well. So that's something to consider. Sports activities. So then we looked at our other potential dog park site, which undeveloped land, which is at Normandale Park. It's across the street from Regency. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but one of the I would say one of these restraints on developing that site, it's very hilly. It would require a tremendous amount of grading at quite an expense to grade it to where it would be usable for a dog park. But that park as well has been considered in the past for sports activities. So there's competing interests for both of these undeveloped sites that we have in the city. So basically our conclusion from looking at all the parks and looking at all the constraints was that there wasn't any existing developed park that could accommodate a 3 to 5 acre dog park. So then our next thing to look at was the undeveloped parks, which they're both capable of hosting a dog park, but there's competing interests for them. So then we used the same criteria, basically the same criteria we used for the dog park, other than for the dog park for dog zones. The thing with the dog zone is we're not defining how big it would be, so it could fit in some other parks that couldn't necessarily hold a dog park. They could possibly host a dog zone. So we looked at a lot of the same things, whether it was city-owned, sufficient space, which we haven't determined how big that is, but we determined there was enough room to put in some other kind of amenity. We looked at conflicting park features, sensitive habitat, parking and road access, and rated them good, fair, or poor. Based on our study, if you look at your matrix, we identified 9 potential parks that we'd like to consider for a dog run. So what we're going to ask the commissioners to do between now and the next meeting is to have a look at these parks, rate them 1 to 5, let us know what you think their potential is, then we'll have a good basis to make a recommendation to the City Council as far as potential sites for a dog run, realizing that at this point there is no project, there is no budget. However, there is the possibility, we think, at these parks for hosting a dog park. Dog run, excuse me. So looking at that, if you want to go on to the next slide, this is Borrego Park, and that's your 250-foot circle. And you can see that at Borrego, although there are some homes nearby, you could fit one in there without impacting the homes. It backs up to a school, it backs up to a canyon, which we were calling sensitive habitat, but there's fencing and it's separated from there. So we figure that it's far enough away with the playground located at one end that there is the possibility to put a dog run there. Next, we looked at Cherry Park. There is playgrounds there, and it's located on fairly good access road with street parking, on-street parking, and some areas throughout the park that could possibly host a dog run. The next one we'd have you look at is Montberry Park. The thing about Montberry Park is there's no amenities whatsoever at the park, so there were no conflicts with any existing amenities there. It is, however, close to homes, but it does back up also to commercial property, so we want you to take a look at that. Pittsford Park, fairly large park, 10 acres. It is a heavily used park, but there's still some areas there we feel that you might want to consider. They have playgrounds. We use that field for our concerts, and it is used for drop-in sports and things, but we're thinking a lot of the activity, especially with the concerts, would move to the sports park. So it might not be as heavily used as it is now, and it does have some room that we feel is available. Next, we have Rancho Serrano Park. Once again, it's a neighborhood park. It's near homes, but on one side, there's a major street with commercial property. So if we were looking to locate something there, we could possibly locate it on the edge that goes along the street and the commercial property. So we'll take a look at that. And Regency Park. Regency Park, also very limited amenities, large grass areas, one above, one below. 250-foot circle, gets you near homes, but you could probably fit something in there. Rimgate Park, although there's homes on two of the sides. One of the sides backs up to the cemetery, and the frontage road is a fairly busy street with good parking. Not a tremendous number of amenities there. There's playground and gazebo, but we feel that there may be the opportunity there to take a look at putting one. Tamarisk Park. Also, you see the 250-foot circle, no homes. There are sporting activities throughout the park. There is a playground located on the top section off to the right, but there may be the opportunity there around the edge towards the back that's away from homes and provides enough area for a dog zone or dog run. Finally, we would ask you to take a look at Vintage Park. Vintage Park backs up to open space. It's on a major street, has on-street parking. It does have some amenities. They're located, it's actually like a two-tiered park. The lower part of it doesn't have any amenities. Up above, there's a playground. So we'd ask you to take a look at that too. So the next steps for us, we're going to ask you to spend some time in the next few weeks looking at the matrix, looking at the parks, evaluating them as far as what you think their potential is for hosting a dog run, and bringing that back to the next meeting. And with that, I would suggest that we have a few public speakers.
Thank you, but just to clarify, in our 1 to 5, 5 being best? Right, okay, all right, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Okay, comments, please.
First, we have Jim Gardner.
Good evening, Madam Chairperson, Commission members, and staff. Thank you for moving at what is record speed for a city project. I mean, everybody, this is breathtaking, to say the least. By the way, I tried to get us some coffee and cookies. I was complaining to the City Council on Tuesday night, and I've been promised by the powers that be that it will happen. I was hoping it would have happened by tonight, but promised that they will do it. Anyhow, about the proposal, some great stuff. Dog run is actually a word that maybe has the wrong connotation. Zone or some other word might be better than dog run. I think it's also important when you go out, if you remember in the report I gave you, I outlined the areas themselves. I think that's important to keep in mind rather than the park. Some parks may be within, some parts of that park may be within 250 feet, like Borrego, but in fact you could put an entire large and small dog zone where it wouldn't be within 250 feet. So when you're out there, you need to not be thinking of the park per se, but this is where it would be, and that's not a problem. Also, with that perspective, you might want to think about the access to the park. That's not one of your criteria, but a place like Rimgate or Rancho Serrano, the park itself is great, but where you probably would end up putting the dog zone would be so far in back of the park that you begin to have a really long ride. So that's not a criteria, but as you scope out where the zone would be, you want to look, is access to the park a relatively easy thing to do or not. Other than those few little comments, yeah, that's a great start, and again, congratulations on moving forward so quickly. It takes everyone's breath away. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gardner.
We have no more speakers.
So we have our homework then as commissioners to review these parks. And anyone have any comments they want to make at this point, or wait till? Any questions?
I have a comment. Some of these parks I'm certainly not familiar with, based on what I'm reading, and I certainly want to become familiar with them. I'd like to suggest, in the best interest of productive time, that we might want to consider the 5 of us to visit some of these parks as a group. Always time and scheduling is always a challenge, and I understand that. It may be that we may want to consider multiple trips to break down the parks and do a handful, so at least we can spread it over a period of time. I would like to ask the city staff, to help us to come up with a way that we can do this in an efficient manner. Obviously, individually, we can certainly visit the parks, but I kind of see value of us as a group, so we can discuss and verbalize some comments, and to have someone who's familiar with these parks kind of focus on these types of points that might be important.
Commissioner, the only problem with putting everybody together is that it constitutes a meeting. So it's a Brown Act issue.
Well, I understand that. But
So you couldn't, if we all went together, you couldn't discuss it. What we'd like to get is your individual impressions of the park.
I see. Okay.
And we'll provide you in the back of the brochure, there's a parks map. And if you want one of us to go with you, I'd be happy to do that.
That's where I was going. It doesn't necessarily have to be a group, but if you can give us some guidance to avoid any conflicts with any rules of conduct, I would certainly be open to that. All right, thank you.
Yeah, real quick. To staff, thank you for doing this. It has made something that has been somewhat monumental. I know I've inundated my colleagues and staff with, thank God I didn't have to print that stuff. Thank God for email, because I would have killed a whole forest. We could have built a park there of information that, as I kept going through it, I kept thinking to myself more and more, gee, I thought I knew something. I know less and less and less. And Dr. Gardner, again, thank you for your comment on the rapidity in which we're moving. But beginning of the week, it was like, we need to put the brakes on it a little bit, and at least we have this other window. So we're still going to move rapidly, because there is a tremendous amount of stuff to consider, and hopefully to learn from some of the predecessors, and there are hundreds of them. Some that have been successful, some that have failed. But I think this is a good way to look at it, and I think that the methodology that I personally would prefer, and which I guess I will do, is to go individually as opposed to even a couple or something. Maybe with a staff member, that might be a different story, because I think the value of looking at everybody's opinion, and then if you see some things that are starting to jive, well, we know we have a good platform for what we're doing. And the only suggestion I would make when we do this to everybody that is going to do it is take off the blinders. Don't be focused on anything. I appreciate the comment, Dr. Gardner, on the access, but even some of the parks in our own county here, that's almost, how do you define really good access? I mean, if you look at places like Laguna Niguel, for instance, that you literally have to walk around a mountain to get there. if you look at even Laguna Beach, where it's on the coast highway, the access to the park, which would be good, is very limited compared to the amount of people that do visit it. And the one in Huntington Beach, for instance, which is one of the oldest in the county, you have to walk a fair distance, especially if you have a smaller dog, because that one's at the back, and from where the parking is to the dog park accesses. So I think to get to the goal that we eventually will arrive at, and the solution, we may have to sacrifice a little bit, pay Peter to get Paul to walk in the door. But I think this makes it so much easier to look at 9 definitive sites. That doesn't mean we can't look at some others and some ideas, but those, I think, make sense to do. And again, I want to thank staff for the input and the work they've done to make this happen.
Just so Mr. Gardner knows as well, they actually did give us information on road access on here too. So they did give criteria on that. Yes, so that was on, but we'll definitely look at that, because I think that's a really good point. That and parking, I think, are very big issues. So no, I think this is good. I think this is good homework for us. So
Thank you.
Again, thanks to staff for this. It was, as you were going through this and looking at what you came up with, what you thought were good sites, you started to pencil out some areas where it could work. I just question the potential at Regency future site as not being a possibility, because it actually was one that I was up walking our sports park over the weekend, looking down over the hill where the guys race their little electric cars and different things down in that area. It actually started to make a lot of sense that might be a really nice site. And I don't know from a standpoint of grading and what would need to be done, but and the cost factor certainly could be the key, but it's a fairly big area. It's away from homes, and it kind of, as when we looked at the sports park, and it's something everybody's taking a walk and looking around. If you're at Regency, walk across the street. Careful for some of the little go-karts that are running around over there, but if you look at it, I mean, it's, when we were looking at the sports park at one time, we thought of joining that site down below, and how could we incorporate it in, and hey, maybe that's a way too. So I don't know if I would want to exclusively say that's not a potential. I think it's something everybody might want to take a look at too as we're going out and about too. It just looks like a kind of a neat site. There's obviously nothing going on there right now. Its impact would be very minimal from a home standpoint, and it could actually tie into the whole future sports park theme and that whole one area being a neat place to be. So just my 2 cents.
Question, Steve, if I may. Are you referring to the lower terrace of Regency?
No, the one across the street across the street from Regency, where it's fenced off right now.
Okay, the undeveloped.
The undeveloped
Okay,
site.
yeah. All right, thanks.
All right, fellow commissioners, then I think we could add Steve's suggestion. It wouldn't hurt. All right, so put that on
Yes.
your list as well to check out.
And I'd be happy to take anybody out around to the parks, so if you're interested in that, I'd be happy to show you around.
Thank you, Gary. That's very nice. All right, so I think we're good on the dog park. Feasibility study number 3, correct? Oh, we have a question.
I have one question. When I was here for the last meeting, I thought the difference between a dog zone and a dog park was defined as something legal for liability purposes. Now he's referring to dog run, dog zone, and dog park, and there's no definition here about what the difference is out of the criteria we use.
Sure.
Trying.
We checked into that because we thought there was a legal, and I don't, go ahead.
So the City of Dana Point does clarify that it is based on a legal definition of liability the city is responsible for. For our purposes, that was the understanding when we went to go survey those existing parks. But for our purposes during this survey, we wanted to come up with a title that would differentiate purely based on size.
That's all it is.
And yes.
With that, I think we're going to move on. I want to thank everyone I appreciate your sitting there out in the audience. I know this is a very important issue, and we want to do it right. So thank you for your patience. Oh, thank you. And yeah, and I do want to say a very special thank you to staff, because I know it's like kudos for you guys. You always do a great job, so thank you for that. All right. Okay, we are now going to go on to Senior Transportation Participant Guidelines.
Thank you. My name is Brenda Sylvie, and I am a Senior Recreation Coordinator for the City of Lake Forest, and currently I oversee the senior programs. And back in 2002, we opened our doors and realized, obviously, we needed transportation. At that time, we provided curb-to-curb transportation to the seniors to get to our senior clubhouse and the activities and programs. As our programs grew, so did our ridership. And we knew at that time that we needed some procedures in writing and guidelines to go by. And back in June of last year, we presented the guidelines which you approved at that time. But we do know that right now we have transportation provided by Agewell Senior Services that is the bus transportation. It's a 21-seated bus. When the bus is full, we provide transportation through Orange County Cab Service. That also provides transportation when we have programs like our quarterly themed dinner. Tomorrow night is a luau. If y'all want to drop by, please do so. And also any excursions that are on the weekend or after hours that are not involved during the clubhouse hours, if you will. So right now, the staff is recommending, because to amend the guidelines and to add that the Senior Recreation Coordinator may recommend the use of Orange County Yellow Cab service in lieu of the bus. Even if there is bus seating available, we are recommending this because on certain occasions, not all seniors fit in a certain box. And we've had, on occasion, some seniors that are on the bus and they get up and start walking around. And they become disruptive. Also, there's medical issues that seniors, if, let's say a senior's picked up on one side of the city, and by the time, they're dropped off, they may need to go to the restroom or something along that line. So it is on a case-by-case basis that we would like to provide the Orange County Cab Service for those individuals, and that time it would be approved by the Senior Recreation Coordinator. So that is why we would like this small amendment to our guidelines.
Jump in on that one. Makes perfect sense. I mean, the only other option in reading this was to hire a retired air marshal to be a bus marshal or something. And I think the cost factor of the option, makes perfect sense. I mean, we do a wonderful job in accommodating this group, and I think that attention to detail, to me, when I read this, didn't even warrant. Can we just say yes and kind of move on? And thank you for, putting it forth. I just think it's another way of doing it right. Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments? No? All right. Brenda, approximately, so this is it within the budget, is that correct?
Yes.
That's always nice to hear. So are we doing a vote on the amendment?
Yeah, we're, because this is a departure from our past rules, if there was open space on the bus,
Right.
we require them to take the bus.
Okay.
And there's special cases when we feel like Brenda could make the determination.
Sure.
There's funding available, and there's people who, for one reason or another, can't ride on the bus. And
Right.
so we just wanted to make an amendment to the existing policy so that we could accommodate some of our special cases that we've run into in the last year since we came up with these guidelines. So yes, we're looking for approval. You approved the original.
Right,
amendment.
so we're now doing the amendment to it. Okay. All right, I'm just going to put it out for a vote. How easy is that? Because we already know the amendment. Okay. All in favor? Aye. No nays, so I'm passing it. Huh? I'm going to hang my gavel on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't get a chance to do that very often. Go, Vicky.
Chair Herron and Commissioners, I give you some highlights from our April activities. Big month for spring break. We have highlights from 3 of our camps. The spring break out camp, which is for our kids that are 7 to 12. We had 20 participants sign up for this annual spring break out camp. Once again, the numbers in that particular age group for camps are growing each time we offer these type of programs. They went to the movies, they went to the bowling alley, and then they had a great day of fun at Knott's Berry Farm. We also offered this time around Teen Spring Break into Fun Camp. Last year we offered this, I think we had 10 participants. This year we had 15. So once again, we see these programs growing for that particular age group, which is very hard to program to. They went to Knott's Berry Farm, they went to bowling, they went to Pump It Up, and they went to the movies. And in particular with the younger age group and the teen age group, we look at the budgeting issue where we share a bus on the day that they go to Knott's Berry Farm, so we are able to save some money by having both age groups go. And the last area of our spring break camps was at the skate park. They offered 4 separate different types of options for camp this year. They had a total of 22 participants, and they had lessons, and they each time they go to a camp, they get to make their own skateboard. Highlight this year was one of the campers' fathers was a professional helicopter pilot, and he flew over the camp during their camp and took some air shots and gave the pictures to Nick to use on our website for free. The last highlight for the month of April is our park safari, and I mentioned that at the last meeting. We had 40 people sign up for this event. A large group of Daisy from the Scout Troop went. I think they earned a badge for that. We had some seniors registered and, of course, families. They go on a guided tour of 5 different parks in the area, and staff gives them an idea of when the park was built, amenities that have been added, and then they always end up at a park, this time Serrano Creek, and they had a barbecue, and Nectar made a surprise appearance. And then the last thing I wanted to bring up was from our calendar of events, that tomorrow night is the Seniors Rockahula Luau Dinner and Entertainment, so if you want to come by and check that out. Saturday is the Elisa Creek Cleanup Day. And then on Sunday, busy weekend, Prelude in the Park at El Toro, for El Toro High School at Pittsford Park. And that's always a nice event. That, you know what? I think it's 5:30. Look in your brochure. I don't know right offhand. Yeah, it's in the summer brochure. Yeah. Yeah. And that's all of my highlights, but I'd be very happy to answer any questions you may have.
I'm going to start with my question. Will Prelude start on time?
Actually, I will have to say that this year it's an entirely different group of people who are running
New
it.
group of volunteers.
The Dino was very organized, and he did everything. He is no longer with them.
Right.
So they have met with us a few times to try and get themselves on track. But my guess is maybe. They may start on.
They may.
So bring your headlamp for when it gets dark and your blanket.
Their organization.
I know.
We assist them however we can.
And they're wonderful.
They're wonderful, but they are not the most organized.
Yeah, I was told they do have some great prizes, opportunity prizes.
Oh, well, and I know,
Yes.
because I always stay for the
Yes, the
with my
opportunity
blanket.
prizes this year are top-notch, according to Mr. Rivera. So,
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Oh, I'm always looking forward to the full event, don't get me wrong. But thank you very much. All right, and a great report as always. You guys do so much, so thank you. All right, anybody else?
Just a quick comment on the numbers. It was nice to see the skate park over 4,000 again. That's always the number I keep looking for. It's like I get concerned when it's 3,998. So, but
well, we're entering the summer months, so we will start seeing those go back up again. Yes. Yeah.
tremendous number of programs, and I don't know if we should ask staff to do this, but to contact the Guinness Book of Records with the newest leaflet that has now surpassed
Did that, yeah.
the previous one in
Yeah.
size. And
I think it's 2 more pages, but it's definitely
Yeah.
many more activities.
many more activities.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
again, some of us remember when the leaflet first was introduced as a large foldover that
Right.
constituted 4 pages. Great job. Thanks.
We're looking forward to a really exciting and fun summer.
Director's report, please.
Thank you, Chair Herron. Most of the exciting news with the sports park, Angel covered for you. One of the things Vicki didn't mention, though, however, we had our first day of summer registration Tuesday, and the first day registration was 13,300, which is a lot when you consider most of them are $50, $100, whatever. So that was on our very first day. Yeah. 300 for the first day of registration, which probably 95% of it takes place online.
Are used to being at a center where you get lines of people, and so we're all here ready to go, and we're all here early and ready to go. And yeah, majority of it now comes online, which actually is good in many ways, but we still do get a lot of face-to-face. A lot of people calling, about getting online.
Also, a lot of questions about camp. People
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
talk about what's going to happen. But really, in the past, you used to have a line of people. Now we all sit and look at the screen and go, "Oh my gosh!" Because
Yeah,
you just see.
keep checking.
Yeah, you're watching.
We're watching
it come in.
Right.
Yeah. And other than that, I would encourage you to attend some of the events this weekend.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Am I assuming we're going to see a notification on the times and those events?
Yeah, we'll send
Well,
out
I
our.
think they're in the,
But we'll send out an update tomorrow.
just to summarize it.
Yes, we'll make sure that, we send out a calendar
that'll
usually
be
every
helpful.
Friday or Thursday at the end of the work week. That'll notify you all the times. That completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we're on to commissioner comments. So I think I started with Jim last time. I'm going to start with Steve. Is that okay? Sure. We'll work our way down.
Not too many, really. Just, again, thanks for the report on the dog park facility. If we could please exclude Jim from the rest of our emails, though, in regards to stuff. I didn't know there was that much information on a dog park available, and I know there's more coming. Oh, my goodness. The one thing I did notice in most of those things that you did send is what we were missing the most of was land, but the Washington ones were kind of nice. They had a little bit of land, and I know I was back in Arkansas over the weekend, and there was plenty of land back there, too, for a dog park, but we're a little bit stressed on that. But anyways, no, thank you. Thanks again for the report. I think it's, as Jim said, I mean, when we undertake a project, we don't do it lightly, and we took this pretty seriously thanks to a lot of the folks in the neighborhood, and I think the end result might take a little while, but I think what we're going to get is going to be something pretty neat, so I'm looking forward to that. And I must say, I wasn't a few years ago, so I'm really looking forward to what we might be able to come up with, so that's it.
Just to echo what Steve had said, I think it's a great report, and I like the criteria and how we're kind of narrowing down the areas, because when we first started looking at this, it seemed like, oh, sure, there's plenty of space. We can do this anywhere. But I think it's helpful to really narrow it down and look at it. And I appreciate we even have a homework page. I don't know if you guys saw that. So we can go on. So that'll be, yeah, it's already on there, I think. So anyway, I thank you guys for putting that together. That was great. I think it helps us where we're going. Really, I don't think I have much else. I want to apologize. I was late today. Sorry, we had a little All-Star thing. I didn't know I was coaching All-Stars still this morning, so I had to go figure that out. So anyway, I apologize for being late. But I think that's it. Again, just thanks to the staff. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the information. Jim, you can keep sending the emails. It's okay. We appreciate it. Thanks.
I have to say, being the newly appointed commissioner along with Jeff, it's certainly been very exciting since the appointment back in February. And I'm very looking forward to all the exciting projects and recreational programs and trying to get out to participate as many as I can. The ones I've participated in, it was certainly impressive, the Easter, some of the activities. My gosh, I'm just so overwhelmed. I don't know how the staff can keep up with all the activity, but it's very impressive. And congrats and much appreciation for all the hard work, because I know there's a lot of work in the background that typically the public doesn't see, and all the internal things that go on, and my gosh, the output is just unbelievable with lean resources. I don't know, Gary, how your staff does it, but it's very impressive. Thank you very much. Just a quick comment. You always hear me plugging the Amigo de la Colina, Friends of the Hill Heritage Park, and it's been a passion. And Jeff has been very gracious to become a member to join our group. Thank you. And we are celebrating this month in June our 30th anniversary of service to the community. And we have a hardcore group of volunteers that support all the activities at Heritage Park, Serrano Road, and Lake Forest Drive, right near Bagels and Brew. So I just want to acknowledge them for all the hard work. And again, we always invite folks to join us and take a look at what we do. And once you get hooked, you're hooked. I mean, as simple as that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Since Jeff asked and said keep sending,
The floodgates.
I'll find some other fresh stuff as we go into the next stages. I mean, like I say, it's amazing the amount of information, not only on this subject, but literally anything that you want to look up, you can find so easily now. And I wonder if research departments still exist where people are pouring through books or whatever. A couple of just quick type comments. The park safari, and having been part of it and gone on them, and we did them in the past, this one seemed to sell out pretty quickly, and you had a good crowd. I'd like to at least throw on the table the idea that maybe for the near future, because that hasn't been done in a while either, that these could maybe be done quarterly and visit different parks, or at least twice a year or something. Or my director is looking at me by saying, okay, I'm throwing it on the table, okay, that we do this maybe more often. Okay, more than once a year. How's that? That's more often, because I think, again, I think what a lot of people realize when they go on this is that in our city, a park is not just a park. There are different amenities in them and different purposes. And again, just in talking to people out in the community, there are still people in this town that don't know we're building a sports park, which is, in my opinion, you have to either be totally home, shut in, and no TV, internet, newspaper, communicate with people and things like that. So again, it is just a suggestion that I hope you will consider. If not, I will understand. Another item, I spent some time with Ron Rivera last week talking about the 4th of July parade specifically, because one of my passions has been that the commissions, and that includes both us and the Planning Commission, as we used to in days begone, were in such a position that we could actually see the parade, as opposed to being number 68 or 72 with it. And we had a good discussion. I think Ron's really on board, and we're talking about an idea that maybe next month we'll have come up with from a standpoint of a theme for both commissions. But one of the factors involved would be the question among us on the, quote, float, the conveyance, who would ride? I know you're going to be judging, and until, you're your day. But among the other three, a yes? Yes? Maybe? No?
That's why I've never ran it.
Yeah, I know you have, but,
What I'm saying, you'll probably be in the pro with the all-stars.
okay.
Check that out.
The question to you, Steve, now that, unless you have kids at home, would you ride this year, or?
Yeah, I would, actually. But I'm not sure if I'm in town.
Yeah, okay, but again, if you were, you would. Victor, how about yourself?
Well,
Believe it or not.
I'm going to be in the float, our float.
Oh, the Heritage Hill?
In Heritage Hill.
Okay,
so I'm
fine.
gonna be-
All right, okay. Now, we've got,
So that
all right,
answers your...
okay,
It's called Ron, we don't need a big boat, we just need a scooter.
right. Yeah. We'll see what the planning guys do. If not, you and I will do it, and we're going to do it,
So
that
your-
these guys will want to
Let
ride.
me understand your point. Your point is, what is your point? I got a little confused.
I'll explain to you afterwards, in the sake of time.
Okay.
This was not rocket science, I hope, but
right.
we'll cover
That's
afterwards.
fine.
Okay.
You're out.
Last item, we'll make it that, by the time that big hand hits the 12. How's that? No. After the big hand hits the 12, we're out of here. So, emails. You're going to have my 30 minutes, all right? Knock it off, guys. From the initial joint workshop between the commissions and the council in March, I think it was, end of March, one of the items that made under the programs the final cut or the final wish list or whatever was one of the things that I'd thrown forward, and that was the Healthy City Initiative. Did a little research on it, made some comments at the second workshop that happened Tuesday night, and in their inimitable wisdom, it was suggested that this item be thrown to our commission to, in front of witnesses. Were you still there? I know you had to leave early because it was, you had to go to bed or something, but I know Jeff was there. No, just kidding. Basically for those that weren't there, what the Healthy City Initiative, it's self-explanatory what it means, that it's to promote health and well-being and sustainability and things that hopefully lengthen life, and that there's a community emphasis on those. This actually goes back, believe it or not, to the late 1800s with the World Health Organization sponsoring it, bringing it down to, to us here without 80 years of history. In California, the program is handled through the Center for Civic Partnerships, which is a combination of this organization and the Public Health Institute. There's a set of criteria and an application fee, and I guess what I would like to ask for is if, since the council asked us to look at it, if we could get consensus from my colleagues to look at it, and then on Monday, Gary, I'll get you a complete package on it, and then maybe we could agendize it in the future.
Sure. Commissioner Rosenberg, we have it in our work plan now to bring
Okay.
back a report to you.
Okay.
I just don't know when.
Yeah,
Get
no,
to
I
it.
just-
It'll be in,
Yeah,
next couple of months. I don't know.
I just want to just kind of bring it on the table and make.
Maybe August?
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's not it's not a priority,
No,
but it's something that
It's on our work plan.
wanted my colleagues to be aware of, and that it's something that, somebody later asks, yeah, we're doing something. Okay, thank you very much.
It's my turn.
It's your turn.
Well, thank you, everyone. What a great meeting we had today, and I appreciate everybody using their microphones. I know I'm probably one of the worst offenders, but anyway. So thank you. I am just looking forward to all of our future programs, because I know staff has worked extremely hard to make, trying to do their best and make them as successful as we can, and I appreciate that very, very much. So a thank you in advance, I guess, is what that is. Let's see, what else? I've been working a lot, so I'm kind of, if you need anything from me, you gotta call and physically talk to me. I'm sorry, I've been putting in a lot of hours, so thank you for your patience with me on that. And are we going to get the updated contact information for everyone? We used to get like a little, it was like a little card. Oh, they're looking at me.
Whose contact information are you looking for?
Council, commissioners.
We can check out. Yeah, we don't usually. I don't know if we produce those, but
I think.
I think they come out of the city clerk's office. But we'll check.
Okay,
We'll check.
and then make sure that verify perhaps
Everybody,
our
sure.
information, because I know, I think for a while there they had Steve's cell phone, and you gave it to your son, and I kept calling his son. Yeah, I know. So, may I make the recommendation that they?
But you're right. It was still that number.
It was still that number. So, whenever you find out who does that, please ask to verify the information is correct before they print up those lovely little cards. All right? And I just want to thank everyone. Great job. And, one thing. Website cards.
On our website, the elected officials page
Still not updated?
is, I didn't look, I looked like 3 days ago, I was looking for something, and
What?
it wasn't, it was still.
The commission?
Or the city
It
council.
was the elected, state, federal,
Oh,
because it didn't show George W. as president anymore, but some of the, I'm trying to remember, I was looking for an address for something, and it was like the previous. Yours is right. No, yeah, our stuff's right.
Who's had time to look?
Where it says elected officials, goes everything from the president down to the security. Yeah.
All right, I think we're good. Oh, yes, please do.
Gary, I'm sorry.
Sorry, wrap up.
I think we talked about this some. I don't have my notes. Village Pond Park. Have we gotten any? I know we had some responses on that.
yeah. I failed to mention that the Village Pond Park is on the 21st for award of bid to the design firm. So that should be. I think it's on the website now. The reports are up. So it's. We're recommending that they hire Nuvis. Nuvis has worked for the city in the past and worked on a few of the streetscape projects. And in their past, they've also worked on some other sensitive habitat areas. And they have enlisted one of their subs, Pace, which is also was submitted by one of the other proposers. Their specialty is in lakes, waterfowl, all that type of thing. As far as I know, and maybe Dr. Gardner, are they the consultant for Lake One? Pace Engineering? Yeah, so that they're familiar with. Yeah, they're familiar with the lake and this type of issue they've dealt with before. So we were pleased that all of the firms had brought in sub-consultants that had special. They all knew to bring in a sub-consultant that had a specialty to deal with waterfowl, lakes, ponds, water quality. So we're pleased. They did a great presentation. We were excited. I think everybody else will be excited. We're looking to, his schedule anticipates a workshop in July. They've submitted all their paperwork. They've submitted their insurance, signed their contract. We'll wait for city council approval, and then we'll proceed.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Good question, yeah. All right, I need a motion to adjourn, don't I? Second? Second. All right, sorry. All in favor? Aye. I know.